good soup.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of Nerd Soup, and this week again we have a preview for Game of Thrones Season 8, this time Episode 4. After the masterpiece of an episode that was Episode 3, the least polarizing episode in the history of the show.
It's a weird title for this episode, TBD. What's that mean?
Oh, I thought it was just Episode 71.
Yeah, but last episode was a little divisive, but as Bloodraven once said, the past is already written, the ink is dry. Let's look forward to the last 4 hours of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm sure people are going to love that.
Who hates Bloodraven?
The Night King. He's dead anyway.
We have won the Great War. Now we will win the last war. We'll rip her out root and stem.
And in the first shot of this trailer, we have Winterfell burning. It's the aftermath of the Long Night, or the One Night Stand, as I like to call it. But it's the aftermath, and it's something that I thought we would never focus on. I really didn't think that this is the direction the season was going to go. It's almost like an epilogue.
And it's going to be interesting to see how they move on from this event, not just trying to rebuild Winterfell and gather the remaining troops, but emotionally, how these characters are going to deal with being a part of this event and how they're going to move on from that.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of them are going to experience some sort of PTSD in some way. You look at characters like Sam, who he's never seen action like that before. He survived the Fist of the First Men, but they kind of just let him go. This time, he was in the thick of things, and I'm not sure how he survived, but he did.
He did kill a Thenn and watches on the wall. So.
Right, but he was kind of like, Pip, you need to aim better, and I'm loading them up here, man. I'm fucking quick on the draw with the loads, so come on, boy, hurry up. Yeah, in this shot, we have Cersei and Euron overlooking the Golden Company. They've arrived in King's Landing, and now that's 20,000 strong, how the tables have turned. Daenerys still has 2 dragons, but she has the most formidable fighting force in terms of men in the entire world. So I'm sure she's confident in her position right now. And that look, that smirk on her face, the sardonic grin of Cersei Lannister is legendary. And Euron's creeping on her in the back. He's such a...
Get away. Get away from my girl, Euron.
Your queen?
My queen. This is what you wanted, right? She said she didn't go help them in the north, and she basically said, let them kill each other and we'll be here waiting. Obviously, it's better that Jon and Daenerys came victorious because I don't think she is equipped to deal with the Night King.
She was like, did he get any of the dragons? Any dragon? Yeah, his dragon died. Oh.
But, I mean, she does have 2 dragons, but it's a decimated army. I mean, Aegon did take the 7 kingdoms with 3,000 men and 3 dragons, so Cersei plans her defenses of the capital.
Yeah, it's a funny transition here. You have Cersei looking at the Golden Company, then Sansa looking at the Unsullied, and they're also a depleted force. Obviously not as formidable as the Golden Company at this point in time, but that's a battle that I'm looking forward to see. If we do even get a battle in these last 4 episodes, there might be one more. But the Unsullied versus the Golden Company, that's fantasy Westeros 101. It's all the matchups that we hypothetically put together in our heads, as long as it's in an open field. And it's also Sansa and Arya, we can assume, in this scene looking at the dead, because there's a moment later in the trailer where it's Jon and Daenerys walking up, and they have torches, and there's a pile of bodies to the left of the screen. So even though the Night King has been destroyed, I guess it just makes more sense for them to burn their dead anyway. It's take a long time to bury them.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of a force of habit at this time, just in case that there's not one Ultron bot out there. We've destroyed all of it.
Yeah, and we see Ghost in here. Nice to see our little
He's
boy.
alive?
Yeah.
Ghost is alive.
Yeah, imagine that.
Oh, nobody told me.
And Lord Royce, who kind of...
Where was he?
Where was he?
I don't know. He was probably handling the Ravens or something. Just doing book work. That's what he's there for. And it's also a shot of Jon looking at the dead. And you talk about characters that have trauma, that have experienced all this horror throughout their lives. This man has seen so many battles. A lot of these characters now, but especially Jon Snow. There's always that moment in Hardhome that I love where he looks up at the giant and he's just in absolute shock, thinking to himself, what the fuck am I doing at this point? Do I get a break ever? And in this moment we have Daenerys, Varys, and Missandei. And Daenerys says that they have won the Great War. Now it's time to win the last war against Cersei Lannister.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck. And she's got her advisor, her most trusted, on her right, and then Varys on the left. And I'm still wondering if Varys and Tyrion are cooking something up behind Daenerys' back, and if Missandei told Daenerys about that conversation between Tyrion and Sansa in the crypts, But then the scene transitions to Daenerys in the Great Hall, and people pointed out on Twitter that this reminded them of Walder Frey and Jaime Lannister at the end of Season 6. To House Lannister and House Frey. Maybe foreshadowing a death here.
Going back to that, how absurd was it that Walder Frey put the Frey name into that saying? The Lannisters and the Freys send their regards.
He squeezed them in right there at the very end before Jaime could say anything. That's just us.
No one else.
But I mentioned this in the review, too, that the Northerners are going to trust Daenerys now because she just put her life on the line. She put her army on the line. The Dothraki are gone. The Unsullied have suffered massive casualties. She lost a dragon. She fought for the North. So I think the Northerners are going to see her as their queen, as their rightful ruler. And you could see in this moment that they're all embracing her. They're cheering. They lift their drinks. They're all celebrating, having a good time. Having a good time. Don't know why I said that, but it reminds me of Season 1, Episode 1, when the king arrives in Winterfell and they're all partying.
Well, yeah, it reminisces a lot of scenes. Obviously, you have the Jon Robb, King of the North type stuff where just rallying the troops, right? It just took a devastating battle where you lost probably
a lot.
Yeah, I can't even put a number on it.
The number is many.
We'll see next episode when we get a better idea of how many men are
Jan
left.
Royce is keeping that in the books. He'll know.
Yeah, but you got to do something to rally the troops. And it does look like she's getting a lot of support from the lords that are left at this point.
Imagine Lord Glover sneaks in.
Oh, no.
Lord Glover will stand behind House Targaryen. Just get the fuck out of here. But the most important troops are
There's
the
nothing
dragons.
to forgive, my lord.
There's nothing. Again, he forgives them. And then he bails on the Cersei fight.
So, man, how many Golden Company troops?
20,000? The most important parts of the army, still the dragons. And we had this scene with Daenerys where she is petting Rhaegal, checking up on him because he suffered some injuries in that battle. He came crashing down in the middle of the battle. I thought he might have died, but he survived. He's obviously licking his wounds a little bit, but we don't get a lot of moments between Dany and Rhaegal.
Well, he's a hockey player, you just tap it a little bit and you go back out there.
Bring him back to life and put a Band-Aid on it, pat him on the tutu. Somebody said that Arya is going to get Gendry pregnant in this episode. Just the trifecta.
It's very funny. When we first saw them hook up, we thought this is a moment, right, where we look back on and one of them would
kills the Night
most
King.
Likely no. One of them most likely will fall in the Great War, right?
Right.
But here it's after the war, and it could be another moment where they have another moment, and then it's like, one of these characters might die.
Well, Gendry's like, oh, I thought I was gonna die. I don't like you like this. Arya might do the same thing. Yeah, we talked about this before. Burning the dead. It's almost a force of habit. It's ceremonial at this point to burn your dead in the North. And Daenerys walking in the Great Hall, and at this point she doesn't look too happy. She looks like something's on her mind here, and we still have that dilemma of Jon Snow being a Targaryen and having the birthright claim to the Iron Throne because he's older and he's a male. So we'll see how the politics work out between them.
It's an interesting point. I mean, that kind of got cut off right when the war started. You heard the horns. They couldn't further their conversation. So, yeah, we won. Everyone's happy to be alive. We survived. We brought the dawn, but it's still the Game of Thrones, right? So that needs to be settled. That needs to be figured out. And I do think Jon might be hesitant at first. I mean, he's never wanted any position of power that he's gotten, but he's just accepted it and done the best he could. So I think this might be Jon again just deferring to Daenerys. You take this. You could take the throne. I don't want it. A lot of people are speculating, and I think it would add another wrinkle into this final 4 hours of the series if they do have a bit of a conflict. Maybe Jon sees something in Daenerys that he doesn't like and thinks that she's not fit to rule and causes another rift between them.
It looks like they're on the move, too, because we have the Targaryen ships sailing. We have Rhaegal flying over the ships. And I think this might be the end of the episode. I'm not sure if they get to King's Landing this quickly. This could be a moment where it ends on a cliffhanger. They're on the move, and they're headed for Cersei Lannister. She says that we're going to rip her out root and stem. That's at the very end when we see that final shot of Cersei with the crown. But in this shot, we have Euron on his knees. It's like, please marry me. Or at least change your Facebook status to in a relationship.
I know Cersei needs the Iron Fleet, but I wish he fucking gets rid of this guy.
He's
the worst.
The worst, yeah. And it's a character that he's going to be so much different in the books, but This is the purpose that he serves in the show, and you just have to take him for what he is, a Jack Sparrow wannabe.
Do you think there's any chance that they might make a pit stop before they get to King's Landing? Iron Island, something like that?
Maybe, yeah, I think we're headed to the Iron Islands. I think that's why Yara pointed that out, that if they needed to retreat, I think that's a good place to meet with Yara, get her fleet, and join in the fight, because she still fights for House Targaryen, and they have to tell her about Theon.
And also, I mean, her claim to the Salt Throne is still in jeopardy as long as Euron is alive, so I'm sure she has some stakes in the battle as well.
And we have a shot here of Sansa watching the dragons leave. Sansa and Tyrion had that moment in episode 3 where they talk about possibly getting together, but they would have divided loyalties because of Daenerys. So you could see that she's still reluctant to embrace Daenerys as her queen. Hey, she still has the dragons, so you bend the knee to a dragon.
Sansa and Tyrion stuff, I felt like that was a little unjust, you know? Maybe like what if, just having a nice little conversation before we presumably die, even though they didn't, but it's like a moment they have just joking back and forth, but you can't get that by Missandei.
That's another one where Tyrion's
well, we've seen
be like...
with Tyrion and Missandei before, she's not really too up to date on jokes. So,
that is true.
So she might take everything a little too serious, but
he said he was going to kill you in your sleep. It was a joke, Missandei.
Yeah.
You don't get the punchline.
Yeah, I see Rhaegal. I think it's Rhaegal too, and one of the shots in the trailer is a pretty nice sized hole in his wing. So
yeah.
He definitely is damaged a little. Drogon probably is too after getting fucking...
Yeah, he was getting pieced up.
Yeah.
He got all those mosquitoes on him. I was watching a lot of Bob Ross yesterday. Jon and Davos leaving Winterfell, so we know Jon is going to be with Daenerys. So that's what's going to be the most intriguing part of these last couple of episodes, is that relationship between Jon and Daenerys, getting into the nitty-gritty of how they're going to respond to that big news.
Do you think they all go south?
Well, Sansa looks like she's not going south. It looks like she was watching their departure. Arya has to go south because she's a great warrior, but you need a Stark in Winterfell. Stark must always be in Winterfell. I'm wondering if Bran goes south. There's
a reason why Jon would go, right? Daenerys helped them. He needs to fulfill his end of the bargain. He's helped Daenerys. Yeah. But it would be weird if the final conflict is in King's Landing and Sansa and Bran are just in Winterfell doing what?
Sitting by the fire, reminiscing.
I mean, it's obviously...
listening to Podrick sing.
That couldn't be where their story ends. There probably is something more that we don't know or we can't see yet. Just a little interesting what characters go down south, which ones stay, how they approach that.
I wonder what Daenerys is looking at here, because she's with Drogon, she's looking up. Maybe this is Jon and Rhaegal went out for a joyride and they're just coming back. But her face, she looks happy. It's always nice seeing Daenerys happy. I always say it. And it's a different type of smile on her face that she's looking like. It's almost a somber happiness that you can see on her face here.
Well, I feel like no one can actually really be happy, even though in that room when everyone's cheering.
When everyone's happy.
That's more of a pump up. But like...
Right.
After that, they probably go back to their quarters and they're like, oh, fuck.
Well, at the very end, we have somebody who's... I don't know if you can describe her as happy, but she almost seems excited about the war to come, that she likes her chances. She's got a 50-50 shot here. I think that's all you can ask for. It's a great shot, too, with Euron and then the mountain.
No, yeah, I mean, I love the fit.
And she's rocking the crown.
Yeah.
She still has it.
Bringing back that Lannister red. It's a little, it's like Tiger Woods on Sundays. you gotta whip that out.
She's going for the green jacket.
I don't know. I'm very interested. We haven't seen her in 2 episodes. And I said leading up to the Battle of Winterfell, I'm like, will there be a Cersei scene in this episode? Because it'll be hard to imagine her not getting one scene in 2 straight episodes. But I'm very interested to see how the news reaches King's Landing, how they receive the news, and what they do with that news. Do they like their chances? Do they have a plan? Are they preparing for war? What is it? And I'm very excited to see how these last 4 hours play out. I very much enjoy that the story is going to end more political and smaller and more personal. Where the Long Night, the Night King, and everything, it's great, this big grand battle, I prefer the ending to be smaller.
Yes. And for the sake of the internet, for the sake of humanity, I hope these last 3 episodes are good. Please be good. Please, I'm begging you. It doesn't matter, I'm a fanboy anyway, so I'm going to like it apparently.
No, I mean, we only have 4 hours left, so I mean, let's just enjoy the ride. Let's finish it out. Let's see where it goes. Let's get excited.
That's not gonna happen.
4 hours left of
Nope.
Game of Thrones. Put that into your mind.
Yeah, I have
3 episodes left, 4 hours.
Right.
Regardless of how you felt about last episode, it happened, and this
did
is
it
what
though?
Yes, it did.
Okay.
And this is what we have left.
Opening crawl for this episode: Luke Skywalker wakes up from a bad dream. Oh wait, no, that's the other franchise.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm excited. How can you not be?
Yay!